Greetings to all the people called Methodists the world over. Greetings to the leadership of the formations that have convened this historic webinar. Greetings also to my fellow co-panelists, our brother, Reverend Dr. Muntha Isaac, and our sister, Dr. Lama Mansour, and all the oppressed and suffering people of Palestine. Greetings to all the freedom-loving people who have joined us at this time. Let me express gratitude to the organizers of this virtual event for taking a risk with me to present what could be considered the voice from South Africa, Southern Africa, and Africa, the continent itself. As people of faith, we are very aware that we meet at the time of Lent. Lent is a season of solidarity with Christ on a journey to his liberating death on Calvary. It was at the beginning of that journey that Thomas courageously said to his fellow disciples, "Let us also go that we may die with him." The week of 21st to the 30th of March has been declared Israeli Apartheid Week. It is a time when the world intensifies its solidarity with the Palestinian struggle against Israel occupation, genocide, and even ethnic cleansing. This year's theme, at least here in Johannesburg, at an event that I will be attending on Friday on our Human Rights Day, the theme has been declared Resist, Rise, and Decolonize. We are being asked to reimagine a liberated Palestine after this ongoing oppression. This webinar is therefore a very sacred gathering where we come alongside our Palestinian comrades and friends to pledge and express our solidarity to them. We have come to listen to their stories and hear their experiences, their struggles, and their hopes. We have come as Christians drawing from the slogan of the South African struggle, "An injury to one is an injury to all." Convinced that they are not the voiceless, we hope to listen to their cries, their pains and voices, and ours is to amplify them in our spaces, in our pulpits, in our sanctuaries, and religious gatherings. Convinced of the correctness and justness of their cause, we hope that we will move from here to show visible solidarity through meaningful, practical, and impactful actions in our theaters of struggle. We have come here to appreciate their resilience and resoluteness and allow that to inspire us never to retreat or even to abandon them. The most powerful act of steadfastness is resistance. As a resistance is what we saw in the media when Gaza families gathered to share the iftar, the breaking of the Ramadan fast, amid the ruins of their homes. They set a red-covered table stretching several hundreds of meters. They put up Palestinian flags as an act of defiance. We gather here as people of resilient hope, steeped in stubborn faith, and sustained by promises of a faithful God, to also pray. We evoke St. Paul and declare to the suffering Palestinians the foolishness of our faith. And as Paul said in Romans 8:18, I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory about to be revealed to us. I've taken the liberty to paraphrase for the purpose of my slant in this presentation, the theme 2, steadfastness as prophetic resistance. I hope to weave 3 strands from my own tradition as a Black, as an African, and a South African Christian. 1, the steadfastness as expressed and modeled by biblical prophets. 2, steadfastness as the lived expression and experience in the South African struggle for freedom. 3, God in Jesus Christ as the model and source of spirituality of steadfastness and prophetic resistance. In the prophetic liberation tradition, steadfastness is a form of militant protest against human-designed injustice, systemic evil, and structural oppression. It is a tenacious commitment and refusal to be moved an inch in the midst of even torture and murder. The biblical prophets are a special breed of emissaries who proclaim God's justice, mercy, and truth, even at personal cost. Steadfastness became a powerful recurring motif of their ministry. Although they have had to face judgment, ridicule, and sometimes violence, they remained steadfast in speaking truth to intransigent powers and denouncing injustice and evil. This steadfastness was demonstrated by Daniel and his 3 comrades in captivity in Babylon. He stood resolute in the lion's den, and these comrades walked bravely in the fire furnace. The ministry of the prophets encouraged the nation to remain faithful even in the midst of uncertainty and hardship of exile. The psalmist in 137 testified to this inspiration that led to their steadfastness and resistance in captivity. He reports on their resilience at the banks of the river Babylon. When their oppressors demanded of them to entertain them with sacred songs of their spiritual and cultural heritage, they simply refused to cooperate. They did a sit-in and hung up their musical instrument on the willow trees. They just refused to be co-opted into contributing to their own suffering. Political resistance includes refusing our oppressors the freedom and the joy of making us complicit in our suffering and pain. The ability to refuse to sell out the hope of God's people. As South Africans, we learned so much and were inspired by the struggles of other oppressed people of the world who defeated cruel oppression. We learned from the revolutions of the progressive world. We learned from the struggles in Latin America. We learned, inspired by the civil rights movement in the USA. We drew from the anti-colonial struggles on the African continent. It is our conviction that our own liberation struggle, which defeated what people thought was an invisible monster of apartheid colonialism, has the potential to inspire Palestinians in their own struggle. They can learn to avoid the mistakes we committed. They can draw knowledge and lessons from our own collective resistance. Above all, they can tap into our collective determination and resilience to inspire them to continue their struggle for total freedom and lasting justice. Our own freedom is an outcome of a people who stood their ground against all forms of injustice and discrimination. Our steadfastness was a potent form of resistance where all of our society and different sectors refused to be swayed by the pain that came with our political oppression and economic exploitation. Our militant youth, our robust students, resilient trade union movement, our academics, professionals, sports people and artists, civic organization, all of them enlisted in the struggle. Our steadfastness was expressed through different voices that continue to echo even when we struggle today, because the struggle still continues. Our musicians, like the legendary Miriam Makeba, Hugh Masekela, and others, composed songs that fortified us. Our poets penned verses that conscientized us and raised our consciousness. Africans are people of song and dance. Africans sing in times of joy and celebration. We also sing in times of trouble, struggle, and pain. We sang songs that evoked lament and inspired hope and resilience. Thina sizwe ezimnyama zikhalela izwe lethu, which means we, the Black nation, cry for our country stolen by white people. We calmed our fears as we sang, Thula sizwe ungabokhali, uYehova wakho uzokunqobela, which simply means, be still, nation. Do not fear, your God will conquer for you. We did not only sing, we also endure through dance. The Toi Toi is a rhythmic dance and chant that was used as a symbol of resistance during protest. It was an act that evoked bravery to stop intimidation from even the most powerful army on the African continent. We designed slogans and wrote them on T-shirts and posters, and even used them in graffiti. The slogans were not just empty words, but were mantras that were ingrained in our minds and our souls. We shouted them to inspire courage and instill bravery. These included no retreat, no surrender. We shouted forward ever, backward never. We continued and shouted Izwe lethu iAfrika, which means Africa is our land. We shouted Mayibuye iAfrika, let Africa return to its owners. Even the frailest of women would stand in front of their house when the regime came to steal their land and to bulldoze their homes and resettle them in the townships and Bantustans. They would shout the slogan, Amandla Ngawethu, which simply means power to the people. This demonstrated the invincible power of powerlessness, the power born of a defiant steadfastness, even against a powerful system of apartheid. Liberation theology. Many of our theologians and clergy participate in the struggle for freedom through such formations as the Institute of Contextual Theology and the South African Council of Churches, and many others. A Kairos document, which this year is celebrating 40 years, became a resource that guided us to challenge, to expose as a lie, the theological justification that apartheid was by God's design. Our preachers stood in their pulpits and shouted, if God be for us, who can be against us? Many Christians, especially women, stood in the gap of prayer and petitioned God for the miracle of freedom. Robben Island is today a physical monument that captures the spirit of resilience of a generation of leaders and freedom fighters. Nelson Mandela and his generation had their rallying cry, the slogan, freedom in our lifetime. Professor Robert Sobukwe of the Pan-Africanist Congress was held in solitary confinement for 6 years under the Sobukwe Clause, a law specifically designed to keep him incarcerated without any legal basis. Sobukwe was a Methodist lay preacher, and he drew from his faith to endure hardship. This generation's resilience is a powerful testament to the human spirit's capacity for courage, for determination, and commitment for freedom, thus resulting in steadfastness as prophetic resistance. Although for some of South Africans, their steadfastness was a product of their political and ideological convictions. For many of us, it was as a result of our faith in God, in Jesus Christ. The Bible, especially the Psalms, speak and teaches a consistent message of steadfastness of God. We have come to learn, to know, and believe that the Lord is the faithful God who keeps the covenant despite human nature. We have come to internalize the biblical refrain, for the Lord is good. The Lord's steadfast love endures forever, and the Lord's faithfulness to all generations. Our Lord Jesus Christ is the master model of steadfastness. Through his life, Christ remains resolute in his determination to practice his ministry and fulfill his mission to save and liberate humanity and its sinful structures and systems. It is at Gethsemane that he had to dig deep for steadfastness as he wrestled with the reality of the imminent crucifixion. Friends, the cross of Christ has become a symbol of steadfastness and enduring faith amongst Christians. It was through Via Dolorosa that Christ showed us resoluteness despite the number of times he fell down. He went on to rise even until Calvary. And so we have come to learn through Christ that the grave does not have the final word. The rubble under which Dr. Munza talks about, where Jesus lies in Gaza, is not the final word. We are a people of resurrection, and steadfastness is part of our DNA. Thus, we gather here more than just shout a slogan, but we express as a statement of faith when we say, from the river to the sea, Palestine shall free. This is a mantra of steadfastness, and may we see the liberation and freedom of Palestine in our lifetime. Thank you.